Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 337 days, Ukraine defends itself against the forces of the Russian invasion. Russia conducted another massive missile and drone strikes against Ukrainian cities yesterday, reports Interfax Ukraine. According to the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, 11 civilians have been killed and the same number injured as a result of strikes. Missiles and drones hit 11 regions of the country. 35 buildings, including residential ones, have been damaged. The General Staff of Ukraine informed that Russian troops used 17 kamikaze drones against Ukraine, all of them were shot down, and also fired 59 missiles, of which Ukrainian defenders destroyed 47. In his evening video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky said that yesterday's strike fully confirms that this Russian aggression can and should be stopped only with adequate weapons. The terrorist state will not understand anything else. He pointed out that thanks to the air defense systems provided to Ukraine and professional actions of its warriors, most of the Russian missiles and Shahed drones were shot down. These are at least hundreds of lives saved and dozens of infrastructure facilities preserved, stressed Zelensky. The president expressed gratitude to everyone who is speeding up the supply of necessary defense equipment to Ukraine and who is willing to increase sanctions pressure on the terrorist state. Canada plans to supply 4 Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, reports Militarny. According to Canada's Minister of Defense Anita Anand, these tanks are combat-ready and will be provided in the coming weeks. Canada will also train the Ukrainian military to use them. When explaining the decision to provide only 4 units, Anand stated that Canada has 82 Leopard 2 tanks in service, without specifying how many of them are ready for combat use. The President of Ukraine welcomed Canada's announcement and said that Ukraine's tank coalition now has 12 countries in it. US Deputy Secretary of State Victoria Nuland said that some of the sanctions against Russia may be eased if it decides to withdraw its troops from all of Ukraine and agrees to negotiate seriously, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Nuland clarified that she would support such a course of actions and State Secretary Blinken would probably do the same. Nuland also said that the US would not be able to send M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine before the expected spring offensive of Ukraine's forces, reports Fakty. She stressed that the Abrams is a very complicated tank that requires serious training. At the same time, the UK plans to transfer its 14 Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine by the end of March, reports European Pravda. The US Treasury declared the Russian Wagner Group private military company a transnational criminal organization and imposed sanctions on individuals and entities associated with it, reports European Pravda. The decision is based on the fact that the Wagner Group members are involved in serious criminal activities, including mass executions, rapes, child abductions, and physical abuse in various countries of the world, among them the Central African Republic and Mali. The US Treasury Department also added a number of companies who support the activities of the Wagner Group to the sanctions list. In particular, these are Russian and Chinese companies as well as the European representative office of the latter. They had provided the Wagner Group with space and aerial photographs for military operations in Ukraine. MP, deputy head of the Servants of the People faction Mykola Tyshenko got caught up in a scandal, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine's embassy to Thailand released in social media an invitation for Ukrainians in Bangkok to meet MP and talk about cooperation of Ukraine's state with the local Ukrainian community. Media and society questioned how and why an MP ended up in Thailand. This happened days after the latest decision of the State Security and Defense Council of Ukraine that state officials, including MPs, will be allowed to leave Ukraine only on state business. Volodymyr Zelensky stressed then that it is unacceptable for state officials to travel on vacations abroad during the full-fledged invasion. Tyshenko confirmed that he is in Asia, but claimed that he is there on a business trip and just follows orders of the head of his faction and does not hide his whereabouts. The MP also noted that the first stop of his foreign business trip was Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. The second stop is Thailand. After visiting Thailand, he will return to Vietnam again. Later, chairman of the Verkhovna Rada Ruslan Stefanchuk said that he did not sign an order for the business trip of Tyshenko to Thailand. According to the media, the MP left Ukraine on December 30th but did not go public about his trip before yesterday. Head of the Servant of the People faction David Arachamia announced that Tyshenko will be fired from the position of his deputy and will be excluded from the faction. Tyshenko is known for scandals. During the peak of COVID-19 restrictions, his restaurant continued working despite the ban. At the start of the invasion, he relocated to Ukraine's westernmost region of Zakarpattia and presented it as a heroic move to help defend Ukraine. If you like what we do and would like to tip us, you can now do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as usual, you can subscribe to our Patreon. In gratitude for your help, we will give you access to a series of exclusive episodes on wartime life in Ukraine. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.